The price of the PS5 is finally revealed.
And Nintendo had a mini direct again.
And the new Nvidia graphics cards are sold out everywhere. Did Scalpers get to them first?
This and much more in today's video.
Alright, welcome everyone to a new TooStupidGamerz news update. So, there's a bunch of stuff that just happened this past week or two, and we wanted to talk about it because it's pretty big.
That's right.
So we're gonna start off with a few quick-fire mentions, starting with the Nvidia graphics cards that just came out. So it seems as though the Nvidia RTX 3080, sorry about that, has actually been sold out. Literally, people went online to Newegg and other such websites to try to purchase these cards, and 5 minutes before, the website pretty much crashed, and then after the crash, cards were gone.
Yeah, that's basically standard at this point. That's how these things go.
Yeah, pretty much. A lot of people are complaining that these people buying the cards are not actual customers; they're just scalpers.
Yeah.
These scalpers, basically what they do is they conduct a DDoS attack, where they basically crash the website, as I mentioned earlier, and then they use special bots to purchase all these graphics cards and then put them up on eBay for prices upwards of over $2,000.
Yeah, I think if to benefit the consumer and the people that are actually going to use it, like, these companies got to figure out better ways of selling things online, because stuff like this happens all the time. And the same thing goes for tickets to conventions and games that are coming out. The same thing happened with with the Mario collection that just came out. So, I mean, yeah, like, if we're gonna run into all these problems, we gotta do something to fix them.
Yeah, definitely. Now, Nvidia went and put the whole argument out there that they're gonna try to figure out how to stop these people from scalping. Hopefully eBay also steps in and stops these scalpers, but let's also be honest, there's no way they're gonna do it. They get money off of this stuff. So, again, we can only hope that the future is a little bit more kinder to us when it comes.
Yeah.
Next quickfire mention, this one hits me quite dearly, and I'm pretty sure it hits you pretty dearly as well, Nanners, is the fact that the Nintendo 3DS has now been discontinued.
Yep. What is it, like 3 years after the Vita? 2 years after the Vita? Something like that?
Something like that. So, the 3DS came out about a year before the Vita in 2011, and it didn't do too well at launch, but it wasn't until Nintendo lowered the price, released more games, and kind of gave everybody who bought it early a sort of a prize.
Yeah, the Ambassador program.
That's right, the Ambassador program. Is that's when it really caught on, and I think Sony should have done something somewhat similar. Unfortunately, they did it. Us being a Vita fan.
Yeah, to no surprise, the 3DS like far outlasted the PS Vita. I mean, they did a better job of everything, from marketing to putting out games and supporting the system for a long period of time, and giving plenty of versions for users to, oh, well, maybe I don't like the 3D. Granted, that wasn't initial. Eventually, it took a long time for us to get the 2DS and whatnot, but, you know, I mean, that definitely helps a consumer's decision of like, well, I don't like the 3D aspect of it, but I do want to play those games. So, yeah, whereas with the Vita, it was just like, you get the 3G version or you get the Wi-Fi version. Those are your options, and no one really went for the 3G. Not that much anyway.
No, it wasn't worth the extra money. It really wasn't.
No.
I mean, you still needed to buy, at launch, let's not forget, one of those super expensive memory cards for the Vita. Nintendo had the right idea. Just put out one single version, already has a memory card in it, and let's just release badass games for it. And there's a reason why the 3DS did so well.
Yeah.
I mean, I played my 3DS a lot. Pokemon, Mario, what else did I really? Mario Kart, a bunch of DS games too, because it was backwards compatible. Fine system. It's sad to see it go, but it lasted a really long time, and I'm glad to see that.
Yeah. Now, what's interesting though is that I thought it would have been quicker after the launch of the Switch, because I mean, realistically, the Switch is also, you know, cutting into the profits of the 3DS. I'm sure, like, you know. Why would I go and buy a new 3DS when I could just put in an extra $100, maybe a little bit less than that, and get a Switch that's going to play better games, and I can also play it anywhere I want. And then maybe this is what was the real death knell, was the fact that you have the Switch Lite now too, which is like an even cheaper version. So yeah, could be that.
Pretty much. I mean, for the price of a new 3DS, you can just get a freaking Switch Lite, and it's a little bit cheaper. Well, a little bit more expensive. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Why don't we talk about the Nintendo Direct Mini that just went up a few days ago?
Yeah, so there was some good stuff on it. The Mini Directs, it was a Mini Direct partner showcase to just kind of, like, I don't always understand what the distinguishing thing for these partner directs is necessarily, because it just seems like they're just showing off like a bunch of games from a bunch of different companies anyway. So you get all sorts of variety with that. But this time around, it was much better. The first one was not very good. The first partner direct was not really good. But this time, I
barely remember it.
Yeah, I remember some of it. I think it was like mostly rhythm games or something, and one new like Square Enix collection or something like that. I've already forgotten, but that one wasn't very good. This one, however, you got at the very least 3 really cool things out of it, which is a bunch of Monster Hunter games, which are not so much like what Monster Hunter World is. They're actually closer to like JRPGs, so they're a little bit better for someone like me. It doesn't want like that grindy online gameplay of World, but
super masochistic online, massively online multiplayer world. And more like
I don't know. I mean, it really appealed to me. Like I looked at it from the trailer. It actually seemed pretty decent, pretty interesting. I would definitely be interested in picking that up. Then we also had Disgaea 6, which was pretty cool. So it's a brand new Disgaea game. I think 5
exclusive
was like
to the Switch, mind
out.
you.
That's right. Yeah, it's exclusive.
And it's actually Disgaea 6 is actually coming out summer next year.
Okay, yeah.
So it's summer 2021, and it's exclusive to the Switch, and that's actually pretty big. Disgaea is a very, very quirky, I think, strategy RPG, and a lot of people love it, and having it exclusive to your console is really big. So Nintendo got a pretty good deal out of that.
Yeah, I know a few of them at least were on like PlayStation, but yeah, this is gonna be a console exclusive to the Switch. And no, I mean, that was pretty neat. Again, these are great ideas. I was kind of getting like a running theme here, like, man, why didn't they just announce a lot of this stuff last time? Then they had they had basically a gameplay trailer and some more details on Rune Factory 5. And if you guys don't know, Rune Factory, I played one of them back in the day because they had one on the GameCube. And it was, or the Wii, I don't even remember. I actually played it on the PS3, but I think it was on the Wii as well. Tides of Destiny was a really good game. It's kind of like Harvest Moon in the same style, except the thing here is that you have dungeon crawling and there's more of like there's a battle aspect to it too. So it's Harvest Moon, plus it's like a battle action JRPG. Totally up my alley. This year when I got a Switch, I got Rune Factory 4 Special for that, and I got absolutely lost in that game. That game, I put like 70, 80 hours into it. It was fantastic.
I was going to say, didn't we see Rune Factory 4 at PAX East this year?
Yeah, we did. It was there, it was there at Xseed's booth with Yeast and the Grand Blue and whatnot. But I think like 1 or 2 E3s ago, we had, during the Nintendo Direct, they told us that Rune Factory 4, which was previously for the 3DS, was coming to the Switch, and it was going to get it was going to get some additional content. It was going to get like a little bit buffed for the Switch, whatever. But yeah, we're getting Rune Factory 4 Special, and they also showed off we were getting Rune Factory 5. And I didn't have a Switch at that point, but I was so hype on those announcements, and I thought to myself, I need to get those games. Unfortunately, both of them were originally supposed to be 2020 games, so even though I'm glad we got some mention of Rune Factory 5, this is technically kind of disappointing because they're now formally officially announcing that yes, it is being pushed back to 2021. Still, before that, literally all we had was it was like the slide. It was a slideshow. That's what it was. It wasn't a gameplay trailer. There's nothing. We had so little details. We didn't even know what the main characters looked like in that initial E3 reveal. So now we finally have some gameplay, and it's 3D. It looks just like Tides of Destiny. Because that's like the only other 3D Rune Factory game to my knowledge. So I'm super hype on this. I cannot wait. And yeah, they said sometime 2021. They didn't say yet. And that's kind of what I wanted to go back to. I wanted to know, why was this partner direct so much better than the last one? And also, why couldn't they just give us Rune Factory 5? Why couldn't they just give us this info at the last one? That would have blown my mind. If they're gonna push the game back to 2021, what difference does it make if they tell us a month early? They probably already knew at that point. There was, such a long period of time since all this quarantine stuff and whatnot. I'm sure they already knew. But then I thought about it. Tokyo Game Show is around the corner, so like literally a week after we're doing this recording, or so, like a week, 2 weeks. So my guess is that what Nintendo wanted to do was any kind of Japanese JRPG types of games that they have, they wanted to save it for right now, kind of get like that head start, on before TGS comes out and we get a bunch of cool JRPG announcements and stuff. So that's kind of why I think this happened. But yeah, Rune Factory 5, I'm stoked.
It looks really fun. I used to play Harvest Moon back in the day, and when I saw this trailer, I said to myself, okay, when and if I get a Switch, I might need to try this out because this looks like fun. And now on to the PS5. So this past week, Sony showed off a big PlayStation 5 showcase, showing off a bunch of games, and more importantly, the freaking price of the goddamn console.
That's right.
About time. We now know when the PlayStation 5 is going to be released. That's going to be November 12th. Keep that in mind, everyone. And the price for the PS5s are going to be $500 for the disc version, the normal PS5, and $400 for the discless version, the all-digital edition.
Yeah, so I mean, honestly, it was what a lot of people were expecting. I think most of the time, if I heard somebody talking online about what they think it's going to be, it was around $400 to $500, which this basically is.
Yeah, it's not much of a surprise. I was crossing my fingers Sony would take the dive and try to cut it down to maybe $450 for the normal and maybe $300 or $250. Well, that actually no, $350 for the digital edition. But hey, whatever. It is what it is. We finally know the price. Anybody who's planning on getting it day one can now finally start to put some money together and hopefully get it day one if they want to, or maybe a week or two after. However, I wanted to get to the pre-orders for the PS5 because if you remember, Nanners, last time we talked about the PS5 and how to get it, Sony had set up this whole website where you can put in your PSN ID and they would give you ample time and leeway to know when they're going to start the pre-orders. That didn't happen necessarily. So, everyone's basically complaining at Sony, hey, what happened with this whole shadow drop of all these freaking pre-orders happening at all these different websites? Because shortly after the presentation this past Wednesday, not Sony, but a bunch of other places ended up allowing you to pre-order the PS5 pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, if I remember correctly, Sony had to make a statement on Twitter about how the launch was botched and they apologized for it.
Yeah, they did apologize for it. However, I think they kind of did it on purpose. Remember how we talked about the Nvidea RTX 3080 and how a whole bunch of scalpers got those things and are now reselling their pre-orders on eBay?
Yeah.
So the idea that's going around, and I'm not sure if this is true or not, is that Sony kind of did it on purpose. That way they can get the jump on all the freaking scalpers. Because let's remember, for a scalper to do really well to get these pre-orders, they're gonna have to set up these bots to basically visit these websites right on the dot, if not a minute or two before, to grab all those pre-orders. If they don't know the exact time the pre-orders go up, then they're not going to be able to grab as many PS5 pre-orders, which means more and more people can get their pre-orders in.
Yeah, but then wouldn't the using your PSN code just completely circumvent that, since you're actually going to like PlayStation players?
I believe that's on Sony's site, but when it came to like other websites like Walmart, Target, especially GameStop, I actually had a friend day of the presentation on Wednesday leave his house after the presentation, walk over to his local GameStop, and put a pre-order down for his PS5. Day of, man.
Man, what a lucky guy.
Very lucky guy. And then the next day, my other two friends that I was watching the presentation with, they went on Target and Amazon and got their pre-orders in real quick. So again, I'm thinking this was probably done on purpose, and if it wasn't, I think it should be done on purpose for multiple other companies, especially Xbox. Their pre-orders are not up just yet at the time of this recording. And I can guarantee you, these scalpers are going to get their hands, their greedy, grimy hands, on all those Xboxes, Series S and Series X's, and just scalp them. It's going to happen, and it's because they know when the pre-orders are going up.
Right. Well, I mean, again, hopefully they also come up with something, because we don't want to see, new consoles fall into the hands of scalpers and whatnot. But yeah, I mean,
that's never fun.
No, the whole PS5 show, I got to thumb through it as well, and they did show off a bunch of games. Felt like a lot of it was cinematic, but there was some gameplay in there in the midst. I think the most interesting thing was we got to see some of that Spider-Man game, the new one that's coming out. And it almost kind of felt like they were going for like a co-op vibe. That's what I thought they were going to do, since there were two characters in the beginning and they were talking about how they both have like suits and powers. So I thought, whoa, or like, is this the direction they're taking this in, like a co-op Spider-Man? But no, it seemed like
that
it's
would
not
be
like
awesome.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. I would be so on board with it. But no, the cinematic trailer we did see for Spider-Man Miles Morales looks fantastic. I love it. It got me even more hyped for the game, because that whole bridge scene was ridiculous. Let's also not forget, they actually started off the event, the whole PlayStation 5 showcase, with the reveal of Final Fantasy 16 being an exclusive title for the PS5. So I was under the impression it was probably Final Fantasy 14 getting some sort of upgrade, but as the trailer went on, they just kept showing more story bits, more specific character designs and stuff, and I'm just thinking to myself, this is not an online game. It's looking really fun, the combat system's looking fantastic. I am hyped for Final Fantasy 16, and unfortunately it's not a launch title for the PS5, but hey, it's looking great. I'm down for it. I'm so down for it.
What I thought was kind of interesting was when they did announce that, they said that it said console exclusive, and there was an asterisk and some tiny text at the bottom, and that tiny text said that it will also be playable on PC. So I was wondering.
A console. Yeah, it is a console exclusive. You are wondering, very correct. It's gonna come out on the PC. I mean, come on. There's no way they're gonna miss out on all that money.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was just kind of wondering, like, what platform it's going to be on for the PC, because I know you can now play some PlayStation games through your PC, so I was wondering if it was a reference to that, or they just meant, like, in general, it's going to be on Steam, Epic, whatever, those kinds of platforms.
Definitely Steam. I mean, look what they did with Horizon. I mean, that recently came.
Yeah.
Just more money to make. A God of War Ragnarok was announced, and it's coming out next year. So that's pretty exciting. The last God of War that came out like 2 years ago, I think it was, did numbers. That game did freaking fantastic, and I'm actually really excited to see what they're going to do with Kratos, or maybe better yet, his son. God knows how many years have passed between these two games. Maybe his son becomes more of a playable character. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah. I was a little disappointed in the fact that we still have this reliance on re-releasing games. because 2 of the games that were shown off were basically just old games, and that was they're remastering Demon's Souls, so that was showed off, and they also put out, they revealed the Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition. I was like, man,
yes, that's
this
right.
game like just came out. I'm like, I was really hoping that we could, because me personally, I'm just getting sick of remasters and like remakes and all that shit. I think Final Fantasy VII kind of really just put a whole sour note on the whole idea to me. But just in general, I'm getting kind of like tired of it. And I wanted to see that the next generation could start without just relying on like, oh, this game came out like 2 years ago. This is the enhanced edition. This is the special edition now. It's like, just give me something new. It doesn't have to be DMC6, but I don't know. I mean, just come up with like another game. I mean, whatever.
You want to know what really sucks too? I bought Devil May Cry 5 this past year for Christmas because it was on sale for like maybe $15, I think it was. I snatched that thing. I still haven't had time to play the game. So when I saw the presentation on Wednesday for PS5, I was like, oh, that looks so good, but damn it, I haven't even touched my PS4 version.
Yeah.
And now I'm just thinking to myself, what do I do?
But so that's all right. So that's an interesting question. We're obviously not done with everything that they talked about, but are you planning on getting a PS5? Like, and has this like changed anything?
I'm still hyped for the PS5. In all honesty, I never buy a console at launch.
Okay.
I would love to have it, but here's the thing. One, we're in a pandemic right now. I don't have that kind of money. So I'm trying to save as much money as I can just in case something happens in the future.
Smart.
Second, launch titles are fun. Like the PS5 launch title lineup, which we'll mention in a bit, looks great. But I'd rather wait out the few first consoles that get sold. That way any bugs that are in the consoles get kind of ironed out, and for more games to come out. That way I have more to play, more to choose from about a year, maybe 2 years.
Yeah, because I was just gonna say, like, if you're gonna, I that kind of made me think, like, what? So were you interested in getting DMC 5? If you're getting a PS5, but yeah, if you're not getting a PS5, then you're good. You got it on the 4, so you're fine. I really wanted to see less remasters and stuff like that.
I totally get you.
But yeah,
the PS Plus games that you'll get with PS5 at launch, I think that's important to note because again, that's just more games to play.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting because it reminds me of Game Pass actually, and the fact that it's PlayStation Plus kind of is a bad deal if you haven't been doing it for so long. Like I've had Plus since like day one practically, right?
And you have a shit ton.
Yeah, so like I have access to, at this point, like at least 100 games or plus 100 games, just for my monthly charge. So that's not that bad. But 2 games a month that you have access to is not a good deal if somebody just wants to randomly buy PlayStation Plus. Of course, PlayStation Plus also implies you have online and cloud saving and stuff like that. But if someone was looking at it in comparison to Xbox's Game Pass, it's not as good of a deal because you would pick it up, you would pay your monthly fee, and you would only have access to 2 games if that was the first time you did this. Whereas with Xbox Game Pass, you have access to the whole library the second that you pay for it. And the first month is only $1. And you get access to like 50 games practically. If you have an Xbox One and a PC, you basically have access to like 50 plus games. If you only have PC or only Xbox, you have like half of that. But still, that's like dozens of games immediately available to you. So I was kind of thinking, like, at some point they're gonna have to do something with PlayStation Plus that's similar to Xbox Game Pass, that's similar to these sort of subscription services. Because I mean, something new comes out, you want to get it, it's on PlayStation Plus, but you also want to have like a bunch of other stuff that you could do in the meantime. It makes that purchase more valuable for you. The only thing that bugs me is that this is just exclusive to PS5. Why don't they also extend it to PS4? It would definitely boost the whole system, sorry, it would definitely boost the whole PlayStation Plus as a service in general. It feels really feels very Sony as of late, behavior, but definitely sucks to anybody that's been a long time supporter and has had the PS4 for a while, even has had PlayStation Plus for a while. It's like, I would have loved to just get a bunch of games that are like cataloged in now, like we just have access to a whole catalog, and there's new games, and some of those games I haven't played yet too, which would have been great. But no, it's only for PS5, and that kind of sucks.
Yeah, Nanders, I completely agree with you. I mean, it would be great to get this large amount of games on the PS4 as the PS5 launches, because I agree with you. It would actually sweeten the deal for PS Plus. I mean, look at these games. If you get a PS5 at launch and you get PlayStation Plus, you're going to get Batman Arkham Knight, Battlefield 1, Bloodborne, Days Gone, Detroit Become Human, Fallout 4, Final Fantasy 15, God of War, Infamous Second Son, The Last Guardian, The Last of Us Remastered, Monster Hunter World, Mortal Kombat X, Persona 5, Ratchet & Clank, the 2016 version, of course, Resident Evil 7, or Biohazard, whatever you call it, Uncharted 4, Thief's End, and Until Dawn. If that's not a good deal, I don't know what is. And it would be amazing if we can get that on the PS4 as well as the PS5.
It would. I mean, it's like, look, once in a while they add something to Xbox Game Pass. It gets me thinking, and I'm like, if I do Xbox Game Pass this month, I get that game. But then there's also all this other stuff that I could get that I really want to play too. And I think that would really help them. I kind of think of it like with Netflix. So Netflix, I used to just once in a while get a subscription for a month because a new season of Trailer Park Boys was coming out, because I was a big fan of Trailer Park Boys. So I really didn't have too much interest in watching things in general. I just wanted Trailer Park Boys. But the fact that month I have access to all the other stuff on Netflix for 30 days helps to get me thinking, okay, well, I'm done with Trailer Park Boys. Let me check this out. Let me check that out, and start really exploring. It's just nice. It feels like a full service. Also, if there was at one point where I was kind of on the fence about Trailer Park Boys, maybe I could put it off, maybe I don't have to watch it. The fact that you have a full catalog definitely assists in that. It's just a smart business move to give you all of these just basically just give you all of this stuff. Makes it sweetens the deal, as Zero said earlier.
All right, and going off on the whole idea of games and which games you're getting and whatnot, let's quickly talk about the PS5 launch titles. It's important because it's a launch. The PS5 is launching. We got to talk about which games are going to be available so that you guys know which games you're going to get. So let's go through a quick fire round, just mentioning which ones are coming out and maybe talking about which ones interest us. So, first one, Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not the biggest Assassin's Creed fan, in all honesty. But the game does look interesting. Assassin's Creed fans are going to be very happy with this game, so that's good to know that you're going to be able to get this. What do you think, Manners?
I mean, I'm over Assassin's Creed, honestly. I haven't been interested in Assassin's Creed in a while. But it definitely is gonna be a video game for the launch. Plus, I could chime in with that much.
Now, Astro's Playroom.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm gonna be 100% honest. I love Astrobot. I recently got the Astrobot VR game for the PS4.
Oh.
It is fun. All right, that game was fun. It's a great platformer, and the fact that you get another Astrobot game at the launch of the PS5, it just kind of feels like Astrobot is the new PlayStation mascot, really. I like it. I'm a big fan of Astrobot, and I'm actually really looking forward to this game. And it's going to be built into the PS5 when you get it, so hey, there's a game you guys can play right away. Next up is Demon's Souls. So, we did mention earlier how we kind of wish we didn't get so many remakes, but holy crap, when I saw that demo for Demon's Souls, I gotta tell you, I fell in love with it. That game looks fantastic, and I can't wait to get my grimy gamer hands on that game.
I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't look good and it can't be fun. it was. That's another discussion. The game definitely does look interesting, and the trailer looked fine, and I'm sure it'll be fun.
Destruction All-Stars is next, and a lot of you probably already know, Nanners definitely knows this. I am not a big fan of Destruction Derby, and Destruction All-Stars is giving me sort of that vibe of Destruction Derby from like the PS1 and stuff. So I'd have to see a little bit more of the game to see if that's something I would even consider picking up.
Yeah.
Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition, we already mentioned that before. It looks fun, but hey, whatever. It's Devil May Cry 5. If you played it before, you're just going to get a few more extra stuff from it.
It's Devil May Cry, but special.
Indeed. Fortnite, toss that out the window. Godfall. Now, Godfall, I gotta be honest with you, when I first saw it, it didn't really interest me that much. But hey, when I saw the more recent gameplay trailer, I said, you know what? If I get it for cheap, I might pick it up because it looks like it could be fun. Sort of like a hack and slash looter. A slasher looter game is what they're called.
Like a looter shooter?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really like Randy Pitchford or Gearbox, to be honest, like at all. So even though I did like the Borderlands games, I can't stand that guy, and he just causes a lot of trouble. So out of like, just on principle, I can't support Godfall. I have no interest in that. Also,
That's
again,
totally
I'm not really like a big fan of I don't know, like big budget AAA titles, kind of like God of War and stuff like that. It's not, I don't know, it definitely doesn't appeal to me. So yeah.
So next up, Spider-Man Miles Morales. You mentioned it earlier. Game is looking fantastic.
Oh, cool.
I can't wait to try that game out. It's already been
The first one
confirmed.
was
It's not
really
going to be. The first one was amazing. You kidding me? However, it has been mentioned. Of course, it's not a full-fledged AAA game. It's going to be more like on the shorter side. But hey, you know what? It looks great. It looks fun. I can't wait to try it out.
Now, side note, is that also coming out on the 4, or is it just exclusive to PS5?
So that's funny you mentioned that. To my knowledge, I can't confirm or deny. I'll probably get this in post. But definitely, there are some PS5 games that were supposed to be exclusive to the PS5, but are also coming out on the PS4. Horizon is actually going to be one of those games. Horizon 2 is going to be on both the PS4 and the PS5.
But hold on, I thought they brought up Miles Morales a long time ago, and they said it was gonna be on the PS4 and the PS5. I thought that's
to my understanding. I was under the impression that it was going to be exclusive to the PS5.
Okay.
The same thing with Horizon 2.
Okay.
However, more recently, it's been brought to the attention of everyone and to the dismay of a lot of people that it's not going to be a PS5 exclusive. That if you don't have a PS5, you can also get it on the PS4.
Screw those people. I want to play it and not have to buy the new expensive console for
Dude,
for
I'm
two
with
games.
you there. I'm with you there. So again, like we both mentioned earlier, we're gonna wait a little bit to get the PS5, so we get the better version of the PS5 and games. So look, if you want to play the more recent version of the games, like the more updated, more graphical fidelity games, version of the games, get the PS5 if you can.
Now hold up.
We're gonna stick around.
Don't talk for me, Zero, because I actually have an interesting thing to say about that. Maybe we could save it for the end, because it ties into one last thing I want to bring up about all of this. But I wouldn't say that just yet. What's the next launch title?
Next launch title is going to be Observer System Redux. So from the name, I never heard of Observer, but it looks like it's just going to be an upgraded version of a game called Observer, but for like the PS5.
Okay.
And last one, which I'm actually still very excited for, Sackboy: A Big Adventure.
That's true. Yeah. I would like to get some more of that. Again, I'm kind of disappointed that it's not Little Big Planet 4, but still, it is more in that series, I guess. I would be down to get it. If I can't play it on the 4, I'll definitely get it when if I eventually get a PS5, but I would be interested in that game regardless.
Again, likewise, I'm hoping it does come out for the PS4 just for, my sake and your sake as well.
Yeah.
But hey, look, if it doesn't, It'll be cheap by the time I get a PS5, and I'll get it along with the system, you know?
Yeah. So those are all the launch titles.
That is correct.
Yeah.
One more tidbit that I wanted to add about the PS5 that actually kind of disappointed me, but I'm also not really surprised about it. It has been confirmed that the PS5 is not backwards compatible with the PS1, the PS2, and the PS3. So,
Yep. Pretty much.
The PS3, yeah, you're right. PS3, I already saw, not happening with the PS5. It's just impossible to emulate that thing.
Man.
Yeah, but when it comes to the PS1 and 2, like that's not hard to emulate. They can do that easily. So it's sad to see that we can't play our PS2 and 1 games on the PS5.
Yeah, no, it really pissed me off. Like 100%. I hate that we're still having this conversation about, you know, backwards compatibility in PlayStation. Like it's some kind of anomaly. So like it's something that we just can't conceive of existing anymore. It's like the PS3 had backwards compatibility, the first model. Then they took it out for the PS2 specifically. So you could play PS1 games, you just couldn't play PS2 games. Well, then we got the PS4 and we got nothing. And then we didn't have PlayStation 1 classics. We had some PS2 classics. We had PS Now for PS3, but PS Now is like it's so-so.
It's hit and miss. It's hit and miss depending on the person.
And then now we're getting the PS5, and all we get is PS4 backwards compatibility. And it even kind of feels like that's not going to be full, and that is going to be loaded with a bunch of caveats. And it's still like we barely got to this moment where Sony was like, okay, here, you can have this, but you're not going to get all of these other things. I said it before with, you know, kind of like it feels shitty to be a PlayStation Plus subscriber and a supporter of PlayStation and not get that instant collection that the PS5 is getting, but also on the PS4. And it's 10 times worse with this, because if you have a PS2 game, if you have a PS3 game, you should just be able to pop it into the damn disc tray and just play that shit. There's no reason they shouldn't be able to give you backwards compatibility. And it really feels weird to be here, because when we started the last generation, it was Sony who was making fun of Xbox, or for making fun of Microsoft, because the Xbox One was like, you couldn't play used games. It was all DRM. Like the whole system was just backwards with all these things. And they were like, oh yeah, by the way, you're going to be able to play used games. And it's like, but hold on, what about backwards compatibility? Like you guys never gave us that backwards compatibility that we had on the PS3. It's like, why don't you want to do this, Sony? People want it, you know, and it would help somebody who wants to buy a PS5. You know, maybe I should get it, maybe I shouldn't. It could immediately replace all of your consoles, your PS2, your PS3, and whatnot. It just sucks.
I completely agree.
It absolutely sucks.
Look, man, I agree with you. I totally agree. Look, I'm a big advocate for emulation. At least emulation when it comes to backwards compatibility. I had the launch PS3, the 60GB. I love that PS3 to death. I actually still have it saved in my room somewhere because I don't want it to get the yellow light again. Luckily for me, in a future video, we might be able to talk about a way around that. So keep that in mind, Nanners. Because, again, our good buddy Sean may have found a way to permanently fix that. But it is a pain in the ass when you get a new system and you have this large library of games, like Nanners was saying, and you just can't use it anymore. Or you'll just have to use an older system. I am hoping to God that sometime in the future, Sony gets it in their head, hey, let's at least emulate PS1 and 2 games on the PS5 so that people can stop complaining. When it comes to PS3, it is really tough, but look at Microsoft. They ended up figuring out Xbox 360 emulation. Now, granted, only certain 360 games are being emulated on the newer Xboxes. So it's not you can just take whatever game and pop it in. It has to be a certain game that they tell you, yes, this is good to go. I'm hoping Sony.
Yeah.
I'm hoping.
Yeah, but then
crossing my
whereas the
fingers.
PS4, if you put a PS3 disc into it, it just doesn't register. It's like, sorry, you just can't play it. So there's not a single one that works on the PS4. And then now
Yeah,
we
I
know with the
completely
PS5
understand.
as well.
And I totally agree. It's a travesty. I think it's a horrible thing that Sony's doing. And I'm hoping they get it in their head, they pull their heads out of their asses, and they just go, you know what? Let's go for it. There are people online that are figuring it out. There are some games that are actually playable on the PC through emulation for the PS3. And definitely you can do it for PS2 and PS4. So there's no excuses for at least those two. So Sony has the R&D. They have some money to put into that project. I'm hoping as the PS5 continues, they actually get it down, put it into the PS5, because it has the horsepower to play PS3 games, and they just do it.
Well, I think I'm gonna be honest though. Like, the reason I brought up the whole beginning of this current generation that we're already in is that, again, Sony started out as the good guy with the PS4 and the Xbox One, and just ever since then, like, it's constant disappointments with Sony, and they're lazy. They don't want to do E3 anymore. When they did do E3, it was like this big extravaganza, and it was like just music and nonsense. I feel like Sony has really lost touch with their fans and their consumers. And I mean, this is the final knell for me, and I think a lot of people, that honestly, I don't really want to. I'm not inclined to get a PS5, especially not at launch, because like, if you're not going to give me that backwards compatibility, something that, again, all right, maybe you couldn't give me 3, but at the very least 1 and 2, and I already had to suffer the PS4, which had 0 backwards compatibility. It really is like, Sony, you don't give a shit about me, so maybe I just don't support you anymore. I think Xbox has given the better package overall, and better things for people right now. Like, for a gamer right now, Gamer Pass is, I hate to say it, but Gamer Pass is better than PlayStation Plus at this point. You know, you do get backwards compatibility, maybe not full backwards compatibility, but you get more backwards compatibility than the PS5 will have, and it's a stronger console, technically speaking, than the PS5. So
when it comes to the Series X,
know.
at least.
Yeah, because they got their that's their thing. They got like tiers, but you can get a better console, so technically speaking, than the PS5. But yeah, I mean, it's like, I feel like Xbox is caught up a lot, and is it more in touch with their fans than Sony at this point, and it's disappointing.
The thing is, I cannot disagree with you, because you do have a point. Look, Microsoft had to claw their way out of the disaster that was the Xbox One.
Yeah.
Let's not forget what they tried to pull. Sony came out, like you said, looking like the good guy, and they just kind of laid on their laurels. They didn't do too much, other than some pretty good exclusives.
They didn't really do anything. It really feels like the last couple of years, Sony has put out a couple of good games, but for the most part, the service just hasn't improved in any like realistic way for people, like for the PlayStation fans, and that's absolutely disappointing. And all this time, Xbox is absolutely caught up. Like I said, Game Pass is way better than PlayStation Plus at this point, especially if you're just getting into it. If you're just getting into it, there's no reason to do PlayStation Plus. Game Pass is the way to go. Plus, you can play it on your PC too. So,
I mean, hell, you don't even need an Xbox to get Game Pass.
Yeah, the backwards compatibility thing. We could sit here all day. Mega disappointment. I will also say that, as if I do end up getting a PS5, which again, at this point now I'm more on the fence. The backwards compatibility thing definitely pushed me more back onto the fence than being like, okay, I saw Ratchet, I want to get Ratchet, I saw this. But I think if I do get a PS5, and if they start doing the same thing where they're putting out PS2 classics, like digital PS2 classics, if they do digital PS1 classics, I'm not buying a single one of those. If they allow me to carry over PS1 classics from, like, if I previously bought them, sure. But if I have to pay money for it, I'm not buying a single one of those, because Sony, what the fuck? Like, this bullshit. Yeah. It's like, I have the discs. I also have previous digital versions. I should just be able to carry all that over. But no, they're going to nickel and dime us on PS2 classics, PS1 classics that they only support for like 6 months anyway, and then it just discontinues. So yeah.
It's kind of how like Nintendo also kind of nickel and dimes you for a lot of things, and I don't like that. So I'm hoping Sony doesn't pull that kind of shit. The only reason why I'm even interested in the PS5 is because I like PlayStation exclusives better. However, it's also really tough to ignore what Microsoft is doing. $15 a month, any game that they have available for Game Pass, that is a deal. And again, you don't need an Xbox to get it. I can just play it right here on my PC. So Xbox is bringing out the big guns. Sony is sticking to whatever it is they want to do. And again, we'll just have to see as the generation goes along. This might just be another PS3 generation where Sony has to claw their way back out, because people will see how Microsoft
definitely seems
is,
like that kind of generation, because at this point Xbox is like winning left and right, and Sony is making huge mistakes. This is not good. This is not a good
lot
launch.
of huge blunders. And again, I've always been an advocate for this. I don't want to consider myself a console fanboy for anything. Vote with your dollar. If you don't like what either console is doing, buy the other one. Like Nanner said, he's more on the fence now. He's voting with his dollar.
I was waiting to see what they would do with that backwards compatibility, and I don't like what I've seen.
Yeah, and I myself, I don't usually buy consoles at launch, but if Sony had guaranteed at least PS1 and PS2 backwards compatibility, I probably would have been pushed more onto the fence to buy it day one, just because of that.
Yeah.
But again, they didn't do it. They're not getting my money. And I'll just have to wait and see what Sony does and wait for the console to be cheaper, because that's when it'll be more worth it to me. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. This has been another news roundup by us, TooStupidGamerz.
Yeah, definitely let us know in the comments what you think about some of these reactions, if you have any opinions on them. And, hit that like, hit that subscribe button, and we'll catch you on the next TooStupidGamerz video.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.